Welcome, everybody, to the live show with Trip, the lead analyst from the Capital Mindset, and myself, Megan Nilsson, aka Crypto Megan, coming to you guys. Me from Spain, sunny southern Spain. I hope you're having a wonderful morning. There's a lot of news to go over today, including liquid staking, which was just ruled as not a securities event. So I'm going to go over that today. But the forefront of this conversation is on Cardano today, and there's a big reason why, and that is actually because it's the Cardano comeback season potentially, and we're going to go over a bullish pattern signal that could lead to a massive pump if the breakout happens, and it's just a really epic chart. If history repeats, from similar cycle to last cycle, this could be a very massive move for Cardano. So we're going to go over that and so much more in this episode. It's so fun to be back with you guys. We got a lot of people in the house. We're going to let a few more join before we dig into the midnight airdrop, different news on staking, crypto news, and then get to Trip's incredible charts on Cardano. Also M2 global money supply, which one of our guests asked about last time. So we're going to go over all that and more. In order to set the tone, I'm going to play for you the video from Charles Hoskinson calling this the potential Giga Chad bull run. Now, I know I played this before, but it really does set the tone to what I'm going to talk about today. And I want to remind you of, the possibilities here. And when we pair those fundamentals with the charts, it's pretty compelling. So let's do this.
Okay, so we can make less. Oh, why don't you just convert all your ADA to Bitcoin? It's like, okay, so we can make less money as an ecosystem.
You think ADA will still outperform BTC in the future?
Of course, because how much farther can Bitcoin go? Maybe to 1 million. Okay, it's a 10x. ADA can go 100x, 1000x over this. It's like, guys, we're not a second-class citizen. Cardano does substantially more, and because of Bitcoin DeFi, it's going to end up probably being the yield layer of Bitcoin, and so it's going to get a huge halo effect from that. And because of the launch model of Midnight, partner chains are going to bring in airdrops almost annually to ADA. So you're like making the case for holding ADA. It's like if you hold ADA, you're going to get Night tokens. Night could be a $10 billion product right out of the gate. And 50% of the supply is being allocated to ADA holders. And every year, these things are going to be dropped.
Okay, so we are potentially getting into that Giga Chad bull run, as he says in this episode, and the airdrop for Midnight is happening. I'll get into that right now, but this is all powerful news to start the catalyst for a potentially very massive pattern that's going to break out, that's coiled up and ready to go. So we're going to have a look at that today, and there's just a lot to talk about. But first, I want to shout out to everybody. Chris, what's up? Crypto Stacks, BPay Kohler, I haven't seen you in a while. Good morning. Good morning. James, hola. Oh, given that Spanish flair. How many of you speak Spanish here? Can't wait for another live. Yeah. We'd love to jump on with you guys. This is our community that we're building, and we're just like the ones with the alpha, right? We're digging into deep with the charts with Trip. We're staying informed on the fundamentals, and we're keeping our mentality right. This is for a mentality check for all you guys too. Eyes on the prize. Don't drop the ball. No fumbling allowed. NFA, right? Hello, Real Ice Bear, Brian, DJ Brian, what's up? Gary, Myrtle Beach, let's go. Got out of the surf to listen. Okay, wow, we're honored. Keep an eye on liquid staking. Yeah, we're going to go over that in this episode. And I saw a question from James about what is liquid staking and why is it different from any other types of staking. And that's actually a very important point that I'm going to make here, and why this is such a monumental occasion, right? The ruling of the liquid staking not being classified as securities. So Sanctum is yet to release its coin. Okay, I'm just reading the comments from you guys, and wow. I'm staking Sol, but never heard of Liquid. Yeah, so it's really important to unpack the difference here, because I think if you don't understand the difference, then you might not understand also why it is so compelling that they're allowing this to go forward without calling it a security. So we are going to get in there. So much more risky. I did pull up a chart from ChatGPT to explain the pros and the cons of liquid staking. We shall show you now. Tim, what's up? Welcome to the show. Jitsoul, you might get them everywhere. So DJ Brian, you truly are a DJ in the trenches, huh? You're doing it all. I like it. What you don't get with Lido. So Lido is one of the liquid staking platforms. Maneem, what's up? You're on the right time today. We're actually later today. Sorry about the change in time. Sometimes things are coming up, but we want to get this out to you. I was going to say COC. Somebody started me on the Spanish thing, and now I'm speaking Spanish already. I wanted to do this hands down for you guys, no matter if it's later, earlier. We want to make sure to get it out there to connect with you, keep you in the know. So how long until 548? That is a good question. I don't know how to refer to you. I'll just call you B. Okay, B. We did go over charts for that. Now you can't really predict timing as well, but we went over the fib level, extension levels, and where ADA could potentially hit. And the measured move goes all the way, I believe, to 575. We will look at those charts again. Christina, welcome. Love to see the ladies in the chat. Team captain, hola. Oliver, hey Megan, thank you very much, Oliver. Thank you for joining the show, guys. We really do love to connect with you. It's a really magical time of day where we get to just delve deep into these topics and connect and strategize together, right? So this is really cool. So first up, let's get into the liquid staking announcement. So that was one of the biggest announcements now. And I'm going to pull that up for you guys, and then I'm going to explain the difference, right? So liquid staking is a big jump in what they deemed not a security. So we're going to go over the crypto news, and then I will show you the difference here. So let me share my screen. Just 1 second. And we will go over everything and keep you in the know. So watch your guru. Let's go. All right. We got to scroll back because there's also a big announcement coming out of the White House today at 4:30 p.m. Will Trump shake up the markets? Will he say something about crypto? What's he going to do? You know, Trump loves to make announcements, but that is happening today. Could be a potential catalyst for the markets. We shall see. So this is what everybody's talking about, right? $3 trillion Goldman Sachs expects the Federal Reserve to begin cutting rates in September. We went over this yesterday. Now we have percentages predictions, right? I think it's up to 92%, which I'll show you later as well. This is the big announcement that everybody is talking about. Crypto liquid staking activities are not considered securities. That is a huge, huge statement here. It is the division's view that liquid staking activities, as defined below, in connection with protocol staking, do not involve the offer and sale of securities. So I don't think most people understand how big that actually is. We will get into that now. President Trump says 4 people are being considered to replace Jerome Powell as federal chair of reserve. All eyes on who's going to be the replacement. Of course, we got Michael Saylor saying, don't sell your Bitcoin. And here's Trump again with the tariffs and saying that he's going to impose an additional 25% tariff on India for buying sanctioned Russian oil. So he's using these tariffs not only as a negotiation tactic, but also as a control mechanism, right? To establish the U.S. as a leader and to establish the world tone, really. So we'll see how that plays out. But so far, it's just been more noise, and we must pay attention to the signal, like I always say on this channel. President Trump says he donated his presidential salary to the White House Historical Association. Interesting stuff. So let's get into this liquid staking thing, because it actually is really interesting. Just 1 second as I pull up let me get out of here. I'm going to share this with you because I asked ChatGPT to break it down, right? So we can understand all together as a group. So liquid staking is a type of crypto staking that lets you earn staking rewards and keep your assets liquid, meaning you don't have to lock those up in a protocol. Instead of locking them in a validator for a set period, like most staking is, and you'll have your cooldown time to unstake, you'll have to stake for a minimum period a lot of times. You deposit the liquid staking protocol and you get that derivative token. So that represents your stake position, can be traded, transferred, or used in DeFi. So that allows you to sort of it's like using your Bitcoin to get a mortgage for your house, right? It allows you to leverage those assets while they're staked in escrow, essentially, right? So you stake your tokens with a liquid staking platform, Lido, Rocket Pool. You receive a derivative token. Your tokens earn rewards from validated participation, and you can use the derivative in other activities. So you can make it work for you at the same time. This is the core, the heart and soul of DeFi, right? And so this is really cool. Lending, borrowing, yield farming without waiting for the unbonding period. So this is a huge step forward. So here's an example. You stake 10 ETH, you receive 10 ST ETH, you earn ETH staking rewards, and you still use that ETH in the lending protocols or swaps. So you don't just have to let your money sit there and be dormant, right? You can now do something with it. Now that also poses certain risks, but here are kind of like the comparison side by side. So liquid staking, you get a tradable token. Traditional staking, no, funds are locked until unbonding ends. And delegated staking pool, usually no funds locked in the pool. So use of stake funds, you can use the derivatives in DeFi. You can't use them traditionally. You earn continuously with all models, right? And the unbonding delay is nothing, obviously, for liquid. And traditional, you must wait. Risk is a smart contract and derivative market risks, slashing and validator risks, and slashing. So there are risks on both sides. So the advantage is the flexibility. You earn staking rewards while still being able to make your capital work for you, which is fantastic. Capital efficiency, stake plus DeFi use at the same time, no waiting period. Now the risks, smart contract vulnerabilities, bugs in the liquid staking platform could lead to loss of funds. And that, I think, is the scariest part of this industry right now, is that we haven't really refined the security as much as it should be for the volumes and to scale, right? So that's sort of like the underlying risk and fear that people have when doing these kind of operations. Also, the depeg risk, derivative token price may deviate from underlying assets value, and slashing risk, validators can still be penalized for bad behavior. But all in all, establishing this framework that this is not a security is a huge step forward. So that's a win for crypto indeed, guys. And I also promised I would be sharing some news on the midnight airdrop. So I'm going to share a little bit about that now. Here's a chart that I made, that I got off the internet for the airdrop value table based on 1,000 ADA, right? And there are many different coins that you can get the staking rewards for. It was XRP, Bitcoin, BATS, and some others, but you don't get nearly as much as you do when you hold ADA. So these are all the different scenarios when considering the market cap. So it starts at billion here, goes to 2, 5, and 10. So if you hold 1,000 ADA, these are sort of like the scenarios that could happen, right? The night you will receive around 350, and then the airdrop value being from $15 to $145. Now, obviously, there are a lot of things to consider because eligible addresses came out, and a lot of those addresses may be exchanges or ones that aren't, eligible. I mean, it says eligible addresses, but maybe some exchanges don't participate. So then I pulled up actually which ones are doing what. So I'm going to actually share my screen again, just so you guys can see. But this is more or less what we're looking at. So it's not a massive airdrop, but it could grow with time. And it actually could be much more in value if a lot of this can't be accessed this round. Also, it's sort of like a drip. So you'll get some of it now and then the rest over time in a vesting period. So I'm just going to share my screen one more time to show you guys a little bit more about how this works. And so I'm going to stop screen. I'm going to share my screen again, just because we did have some requests for this and I did want to go over it. So up here, this is the official midnight page. And it says now the Glacier Drop claim is now live. So you just make sure to go to the official midnight handle on X. It'll have the yellow check. Don't click on any spam links, guys. Don't get yourselves into trouble. Just double check everything. But here's the claim now button. And these are the different wallets that are eligible, okay? Because people are asking, well, what happens if I'm holding it on an exchange? So it says the connection with the wallets is known to work for the night. So basically, you validate one. There are some tools that you can just plug your address in and validate those. I'll see if I can link to those in the description here. And then you can decide where you want the airdrop to be deposited. So these are the different wallets that you can use for the different assets. So Cardano, Lace, Yori, Typhoon, Jero, Vesper, hard wallets post launch. So if you are hosting it on a ledger or something else, then you're going to have to potentially wait on that. For AVAX, OKX wallet, Trust wallet, Core, hard wallets not applicable. So there are some restrictions here. BNB, Binance Chain, Coinbase wallet, Brave, Trust wallet, OKX wallet. I thought it was interesting that they didn't participate as an exchange for that, but okay. You can now for this one, Ledger is eligible, and so is Trezor. Bitcoin, Phantom, Leather, Xverse, OKX wallet, Ledger, Trezor also verified. BAT, you can see here, Ledger is eligible for BAT and Trezor. ETH, Ledger and Trezor, no problem, and all these different wallets. Solana, Ledger is also working, as well as all these. So you can see here that these are the different wallets you can use to claim and to verify. So exchanges are not participating at the moment. At least most of them are not. I don't believe Binance or Coinbase is participating. So if you did hold your assets on any one of those platforms, you might not be eligible. So let me know in the comments if you've already claimed, how you're doing, how much you claimed. What do you think of this airdrop? What do you think of this strategy? It's really never been done before on this mass of a scale with this many eligible wallets. So yeah. On that note, guys, wow. I mean, I'm just going to read through some comments, and I just want to check in with some of you guys. $210 billion Japanese financial giant SBI just filed for a Bitcoin and crypto ETF. And there's now a 92% chance Powell will cut rates at the next FOMC meeting in September. Now, everybody's saying that, August has to be this big, scary, dreary red month, and it very may well be, but we're not just going to take that at face value. We're going to pay attention to the charts as we have been doing on this channel and keep you updated as to what's really happening, what's actually happening with Bitcoin, and what we're looking at that maybe you won't see in a lot of other channels. So yeah, that's just today's news, guys. I hope you're feeling good. I'm going to get through some comments before we go to Trip. He can share his charts. So yeah, good morning, Andrew. Good to see you. Did anyone list their wallet for Jupiter Land? Wow, so we got a lot of people that are in DeFi in this chat. That's cool to see. List is now closed, 2.4 million. So that must have been another airdrop, and just a lot of wallet talk here. So yeah, this is a big day for DeFi indeed, guys. And on that note, we are going to now pass the mic to Trip. He's going to have a look at M2 global liquidity, because somebody asked, there was a big spike down on global liquidity. Is that going to affect Bitcoin? What's going to happen? And also this epic Cardano chart that you do not want to miss, because this led to massive gains the last time it played out. And we're right there again. Trip, actually, we were talking right before this channel. We were discussing that if you're not buying the bottoms in a bull market, you're generally left chasing the tops. Okay. And this is mentality. This is a mentality check now. And eventually you get on. So this is like a train, right? It's coming up to your station. It's just about to be at your station. And if you don't get on that train, you have to think about, like, where will I get on? At what stop? How high up? Do you know what I mean? Like, this is kind of like a train is leaving the station scenario, and you don't want to be left waiting for those infinitely low numbers that never come. So there must be a balance. You must just tune out the noise and look at the charts. And with that being said, I will bring up Trip, the lead analyst from the Capital Mindset. Trip, how you doing?
Hey, Megan, doing pretty good. Thank you. How are you?
Yeah, we're pumped. I know it's a little bit later today, but you got a lot to show them. So I say we just jump right into it.
Sure. Yeah, we're going to start with Bitcoin dominance again, as we usually do.
Okay.
So this is dominance on the dominance 4 hour on the left hand side, and Bitcoin dominance on the 1 week chart on the right hand side. We've been looking at this chart for a while now. That 50 EMA has been acting as support, and if you look closer on the 4 hour chart on the left side, you can see how we got a couple of nice bounces so far, right on that 50 week moving average. So now we have a possible bear flag forming. We definitely want to see this break lower for altcoins. We've been waiting for this to build the structure for a while. Locally, this resistance that we had here from before, which is actually the neckline of the pattern back here, that's being bearishly retested currently. So that's the first good sign that I've seen in this trend. Hopefully this is the first lower high, and then we start seeing lower highs and lower lows to continue if this bear flag does break to the downside.
Right. So we're looking at a potential bear flag here on Bitcoin dominance. And this is just, we've been monitoring this for weeks, right, on this channel. And before we come to conclusions like, you know, it's altcoin season now, or August is going to be a bloody month, just like always, we just look at the facts and we pay attention to this chart, which has been really in the driver's seat this bull run. And this is a great indicator as to where we're at.
Right, yeah. So we're going to look at the Bitcoin chart just to compare. So during this retest, we're getting that that bear flag forming. So usually what happens is if Bitcoin is going up and dominance is pulling back, that's when you get the strongest altcoin movement. So like Megan was talking about, we have some long-term charts for ADA to look at, and these are the large cap coins, and we're also going to look at it paired against Bitcoin, so ADA versus Bitcoin. And then you can see how the dominance chart would have to do one thing for the other chart to do the other. But for now, we just want to see Bitcoin on the one-day chart hold this retest that it's been holding at about 111K so far, and then we can start talking about these higher price levels, probably at the 1.618 next if the 1.272 breaks. So the 1.618 is at about 133K, so definitely need to see that break above this level first. That's about 121,000. Then we move up to the 1.618.
Yeah, and I know so many people, I just see it all over X. Bitcoin's going to 100K. Bitcoin's going to, even high 90s. Like, what would your advice be to people who are watching this and getting sort of shaken up by this news and this chatter Trip? Like, what would you say to that?
Well, there's just nothing on the charts that suggests it's reversing yet, right? You're still making higher highs and higher lows. This is a retest without any traps even yet. So there's just no reason. Like, I think there's actually, there's two drives of hidden bullish divergence on this move already as well. So if you were to pick if it's bullish or bearish, you actually have more like way more bullish ideas than bearish ideas at this point. So you got it on the histogram. So the hidden bullish is when the histogram goes lower to make a lower low, and then the price fails to make a lower low following the indicator. So they diverge from each other. Same thing down here on the RSI. You got that same hidden bearish or hidden bullish divergence. So hidden bullish divergence on a retest. That's probably why we're bouncing right now. And I do expect Bitcoin to probably test the 1.272 fib level again to see if we can test the top of the range and see what happens there next. There's a chance we do get a pullback, at least in the short term, if we do make a move up here. Let me zoom in again here. Right, so if we do get a move up to this level, we're probably going to get a rejection on the first attempt, maybe consolidate a bit more, and then we're going to see if it's going to pull back to support or if it's going to break above. But we really got a little bit to wait to see if that structure is going to form over time here.
So as it stands, there's really no reason to start thinking about lower levels until we see some invalidations and different ideas forming on this chart, right? I mean, that's what's making people overly bearish, potentially not getting into positions or exiting positions. And that's what I wanted to point out on this channel, because I've seen this all over crypto Twitter, and that's not necessarily the case right now.
Right. Yeah. So like the bearish scenario that could happen is if we get a double top scenario here, and then we'd have to break below this level to invalidate this bullish retest the way it looks now. So that's the opposite side of it. But until we see something like that, I'm not really going to go for it. I would rather just focus on the bullish things that are happening. And then once I see a bearish structure, for sure, we'll try to trade it and we'll talk about it.
There you go, guys. Tune out the noise, focus on the signal. And the signal right now is that Bitcoin is not bearish as it stands, and there's no sign of reversals. So just keep tuning in and try not to let things alter your state of mind or affect your actions until you get the full picture. Okay.
Right. So on the 4-hour chart, this is just a little bit zoomed in. These fib levels here on the left side are the same fibs that are over here on this other chart. So just keeping them there for reference. But on the short term, we do have a fib that's retracing this pullback. So you pull from the bottom to the top, and then you get a percentage of how much that move is pulled back so far. So when it comes down to a 50% to 61.8%, that's usually a pretty decent, healthy pullback before you see the next move higher. So we also have this key support level that's just above the 0.5 as well. So there's a little bit of extra confluence for support in this area where we've seen this bounce so far. The 4-hour 200 MA is coming into the picture. We need to see a break above that 200 MA, and by the time we do, we could be closer to this upper trend line here of this channel. So imagine that we kind of just stick with it for a bit, and then we're looking for an attempt at a breakout of the channel at the same time as the 200 MA. So we could move sideways for a bit, but otherwise, the key thing happening next is just that 200 MA break on the 4-hour.
Right. So this really breaks it down in a way that you guys can understand and get a different perspective. We've already had a pretty decent, healthy size pullback. We're on that key support. I love the word confluence. You've got to look for this confluence across many different indicators before just automatically assuming that things are going to break bearish, or just because August has typically been a red month, that this month will be. Does not mean that. So we're going to keep an eye on this. But as you know, we're coming to you Monday through Friday as often as possible. The group does get round the clock, 24/7 updates. So yeah, I want to encourage you guys to sign up for the group. The clock is ticking. The train is going to leave the station. Don't hesitate to join the movement, to invest in your education. I just want to keep repeating this every time, just to remind you, for all of those of you who are on the fence or on the hook, tuning into this is a great first step. If you want to take it to the next level, joining the group is in a phenomenal step. And also, we're going to launch our Patreon for bite-sized updates. And just for people who don't prefer the more in-depth trading analysis on Telegram, we're going to be, going over these general topics and summaries of where we're at in Bitcoin and altcoins in Patreon format to email. So you might like that better, but the link is in the description below. We would absolutely be honored to have you in the Capital Mindset Trading Group. And yeah, let's continue.
Okay, so this is still the 4-hour chart here. I just want to point out that the spot chart, so this is the index chart. I think it's mostly just based off of Binance data. We're sitting below the 200 MA on the spot chart here. But if you take a look at the futures chart, the Bitcoin CME chart, we're actually holding above the 4-hour 200 MA. So they kind of cancel each other out. The spot chart might look more bearish, while the futures chart actually looks more bullish in this scenario. So it's definitely something to consider when you think about which is more bullish or which is more bearish in that scenario at the moment. The next chart, though, we're going to talk about is the M2 global money supply. And I'm going to show you here on the settings. If you go to the indicators, I think you can search global liquidity index, and then you can have a settings page if you right click on it. So just to show you how I got that page, go down to the settings and this will pop up over here. So I've just highlighted that we're only using the money supply from the USA, Europe, China, and Japan. So those are like the 4 big ones essentially. So now we're looking at the money supply in sort of a different light, and we're trying to line up how the 60-day lead that it gives and how it affects the markets afterwards. Over here, I was talking to Grok actually on X, and it was suggesting that it's not exactly precise. That 60-day delay is an approximation. The actual lag depends on the asset, economic conditions, and how liquidity is injected. So it takes a lot of time for these effects to come into play, right? Even though they make the decision one day, it's not like it's active out in the world yet. So that's the 60-day delay that's pretty variable. So keep that in mind. So what we've done here is just line up the vertical points on the chart for when these trends started to really take off. And you can see that when we got that bounce initially on money supply, Bitcoin was still pretty stagnated and moving mostly sideways. And then it kind of caught up to it as it started taking off. And that's that delay effect, right? You get the bounce first, and then it's a bit of a delay, and then it starts to follow. So same thing over here. You got another spike where it started an uptrend, and it was a bit delayed before this uptrend kicked in. And the same thing happened here, a little bit delayed. And then currently where we are, you can see just barely it's starting to make a bit of an uptrend here, but we haven't seen that on the Bitcoin chart yet. So in my opinion, that move should be the lag that we haven't seen and should be following fairly soon. And that would just have confluence with the retest that we're looking for here on the Bitcoin chart.
I like this. I don't know about you guys, but I'm liking this because you know what? I'm looking everywhere, and all I am seeing everywhere is how Bitcoin is going to crash lower. And look, it very well may do that, but we're not seeing that in the charts right now. So we're giving it to you how it is, and we're looking for that confluence across all of these wide and varying indicators, right? So I think this is the alpha, right? Is actually tuning out the noise and looking at the chart objectively and what we have at hand, and that is that it's looking bullish right now, period. So we can always pivot when we get new information or when things are invalidated. But for now, that's what we're looking at on this channel. So Brian, I just wanted to thank you for being on the game. You're on the ball. You're bright-eyed and bushy-tailed this morning. You said my links weren't there. You were absolutely right. Had a crazy day today, but thank you for reminding me. I just added the links to this chat now. And yeah, so did you have the Glacier Midnight link claim? Okay, yeah, so I am going to add that really quickly and go do it, even if it's not a huge amount. I mean, you never know how much it could be worth and, you know, how much you're eligible for. I mean, you only have to hold a minimum of $100. So I am going to send that link now. Again, just be very careful. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff that happens during airdrops, but this is the official Midnight website where you will see where you can claim the night. So I'm going to put this up here now and we will continue. But yeah, that's the link. I think they're clickable in the chat. So if not, you can just copy and paste maybe. But yeah, so I got that off their official X and it's looking good. So I'll claim soon too. And I want to know if you guys have already claimed, how did it go? Were you happy with your claim? Let us know. Let us know what's going on. But so yeah, let's continue. We're going to go over HBAR first, and then we're going to get into Cardano. We've all been waiting for the 2 big ones.
Right. HBAR on the 8-hour chart. So this is the same chart we've had that we've been looking at for a while now. It's mostly based off of this double bottom that broke higher, and then we hit some resistance and been pulling back to the support. So really the idea here is since we don't really have a great structure, this isn't really a triangle. It's not really a double bottom. It's not really anything quite yet. It looks like it just might be more of a just a volatile accumulation entry. So you can plan on that, just accumulate on the pullbacks, right? So if you get some red candles in this area, as long as it's holding above support, you just want to buy those pullbacks and accumulate slowly while the trend develops. And the key to this too is if you're accumulating slowly, if it starts to go against you the wrong way about halfway through, it's less of a hurt because you're only in about 50% of your position. So you take a smaller loss. So scaling in definitely is going to help if you're looking to scale into HBAR here. It looks like we're getting ready for a bounce, but I think there's a little bit of time for that accumulation that we were talking about.
Right. So when you're talking about scaling in, are you referring to spot for those listening or leverage or both?
You can do leverage. Like if you're really good at managing your risk with leverage, that's fine. Leverage is just borrowing money that's not yours, and it comes with a deal that you have to make, right? If you lose a certain amount, they're going to take their money back. So if you can handle that, go for it. But don't don't jump into leverage trading if you're not at least an adequate spot trader. If you're not making the money in spot, you shouldn't be trading with leverage, essentially.
Right. Yeah, and that's absolutely right. And so we do have those training videos in both groups. So we do have a leverage group and a spot group, and we teach you how to do that stuff, guys. So it really does open up a whole new world, and it's actually like really conducive to being able to stack whatever you want to stack and compound your gains. But yeah, there's some risk management involved to be aware of, but it is a really fun ride, and especially when you have such a mentor like Trip. So yeah, I just wanted to clarify that for those listening who may be wondering about leverage trading, or whatever you're trying to get a new strategy. That's just that. But so HBAR, again, what I like that Trip said in our last one, and Trips, I always get this tongue twister wrong, Trips tips was that you can't just slap a triangle on everything, right? That's not everything that could be fit into a triangle is actually a triangle. And we went over kind of like the contingency for it to fit that criteria, and we went over some of those strategies. So yeah, wait for structure. This is the green box. The train is still at the station. I don't know what your train station is where you're living around the world, but you don't want that train to like pass your city without jumping on it. Okay, so just gonna leave you with that.
Right. So like if you're trading patterns and you're mostly a pattern trader and you don't see a pattern that you can trade, the next thing you do is you just fall back on using support and resistance levels and just ignore the other stuff. But yeah, you just don't want to force a pattern that isn't there.
Right. Yanisi Andrew said, I use BTCC. Okay, we have to look into them. They're on our list. And HBAR and XLM were just added to isolated for leverage trading. Great. Excited to start trading HBAR. Avoided doing so cross. Yeah, cross I stick to isolated. But yeah, HBAR is one that's fun to trade when it's something that's looking a little bit clearer structure than it is now. But I do believe it will absolutely boom. In fact, I had a tweet saved about this. See if I can pull this up as we're going now on this podcast. But like I said, I've done a podcast with their CFO. Absolutely brilliant team, and one of those that is answering to institutional money and investors. So that's not always a bad thing, even though a lot of people see it as such. They have to hit certain criteria, certain marks, account for scalability, security. So I believe HBAR is going to be one to stand the test of time, and they're working with a massive bank, Lloyd's Bank in the UK, and things are looking good. So Gary bought more HBAR. Good on you. Great stuff. I mean, yeah, we just gotta act, be prepared for these dips, and ready to execute on your strategy when you see them. That's all I have to say, because you don't want to be chasing the tops, right? So pullbacks are, they can generally be for buying in bull markets if the conditions are right. So great.
Yeah, so like another example of buying the pullback, you just get a nice falling wedge like we have on ADA. Usually it just forms after you have a big advance that happens pretty quick, and then it cools off for a bit. So once you draw your structure, you're just doing the same thing. You're buying low, and then you're selling on the next peak if you see bearish divergence or oversold conditions. And then you can anticipate that you're just doing this sort of movement in a wave as you go higher, right? So there is a point where the charts may start going parabolic, and if you're trying to trade this stuff, you might miss more moves than you could have made if you were just holding. So there is definitely a point in the market where everything just seems to take off and runs away from you. So that's just something to keep in mind if you're trying to trade every move on the charts during a bull run. You could just take your time and really just hold these things for a longer period of time than normal. We're getting to that phase in the market where it seems like it's markup phase coming after the long accumulation that we just went through.
Oh yeah, markup phase is imminent, guys, and these kind of periods in a bull run are sort of a blessing, because you get to calm down, look at your strategies, get organized, take a breather, because the times when it's running up fast is you can't catch it, you can't chase it, you get stressed, maybe you missed a trade. Like, these are the times when then you make those strategies. What will I do if X? Will I execute now? How much do I deploy now? What if it dips further? Those are the questions you should be asking yourself right now before it pumps, right? And you'll be ahead of so many people in this game, just by having a sound strategy and by paying attention when the times are like this. It's sort of like, you get to even get more capital maybe somewhere and try to allocate more capital. It just gives you time, which sometimes is lacking at the end of the cycle or toward the end of the cycles or end of the phase. I mean, like Tom Lee was discussing this too on TV, the one that talks about the investor who talks about ETH maybe hitting 15,000 this cycle. He says that he also believes that the 4-year cycle may not be intact anymore, and it's starting to be sort of a thought and a sentiment that people are sharing because of this market maturing, basically. So yeah, it's an interesting thing. Get prepared, get ready, but these are the times where you can do it with low stress. That's all I'll have to say about that. And I think we're getting on to Cardano now. Should we do a drum roll, please?
Drum roll.
Yeah, everybody's
have
been
a drum
waiting
roll
for
effect?
this big chart. I'm sorry, guys, I don't have a drum roll effect, but I was like pounding my hands on the table. I'm so excited about Cardano. I saw what this was capable of, the cycle where I got in and put a bigger investment in, and it far surpassed anybody's expectations. Now, I'm not doing that to set expectations this time. I'm just saying that, you know, it's important to look at this stuff and to plan for the future and to understand like how much profit will I take this cycle? Where should I get in? Where could it potentially head? So we're going to explore that now.
Right, so we're looking for entry now on this falling wedge, and on the bigger picture that we showed on our other videos, I think just yesterday we were talking about the monthly chart for ADA and XRP, Litecoin, and Bitcoin in comparison. So there's a large overhead resistance that needs to break for a massive upside for ADA, but this could be one of the beginning moves into that larger move, so you have a chance to get in before that major resistance breaks. So just looking for a breakout entry, very simple setup. You want to see a clean break above this descending channel, and you want to see a hold above the 1-day 200 MA here. Then your first target for the local range is around 83 cents, and then you want to break the resistance here around 91 cents. And really, that's just the beginning of the move. I don't have all the targets labeled. This is just this target here at $1.29 is just to the top of the range over here, this previous high that we put in back in December. So these are just local targets. There is definitely a bigger picture though, so keep that in mind.
Right.
We can look at the ADA chart versus Bitcoin now, just to add confidence to the idea too, compared to the last cycle. So in 2020 or 2021, we had this large inverse head and shoulders form, and that's when ADA really took off. I think it went from about 20 cents up to $3 on this move. So now we're starting to see this same sort of pattern developing over here on the right-hand side. You got that same inverse head and shoulders forming. You got the 3-day 200 MA coming into the picture, and once it was pretty much broken and held above the 3-day 200 MA back here, then we saw that big move start. So really you're going to pay attention to the 3-day 200 MA back here just the same, and that's what we're going to see. We're going to need to see break first before we're looking for a break of the pattern. So you're going to have a couple clues and a couple hints that it's coming once you see that 3-day 200 MA break first.
Right, and we're right there. I mean, let's see how it goes. But I like you showing this chart, Trip, because it also illustrates that the inverse head and shoulders patterns are not always, the patterns aren't always perfect, but they can still be patterns nonetheless, right? I mean, a lot of people wouldn't even look at it like this because they would think it's not looking like a textbook pattern, so they would discard it as such, right?
Yeah, well, there's very simple rules with an inverse head and shoulders. It's just that the shoulders have to line up. Your shoulders have to be fairly close to the depth of the head, and that's really about it. There's not too much detail, and it's very flexible.
Right. Yeah. So that's important to note. And, you know, we're going to call this stream a little bit earlier today just because we were a little bit later and I know people are off doing their stuff. But Trip, any closing thoughts before we head into tomorrow ahead of Trump's potential announcement? What should people be looking out for? I like to ease people's fears when there's a lot of fear around crypto and Twitter and X and YouTube and people saying it's going to crash and stuff. So what final thoughts do you have as we're coming to an end on this fine Wednesday live?
Yeah, the focus this time is just to hold that 200 MA for Bitcoin on the 4-hour chart. That's going to be the definite resistance to break that we need to hold in the near future. Right.
So we're keeping an eye on that, guys. We're buying the dips because, you know, if you don't buy the dips, you'd be chasing the tops. I'm going to keep saying it. I think that's a really, really great phrase for the bull market and the right mentality to sort of have as you're looking at what's next. What should I be doing now? What should I be looking at now? Don't forget. Keep your eyes on the prize and focus, because we're coming up to a very special period in the market, it seems. And we want to be all hands on deck, right? So that being said, I think we're going to be coming to you much earlier tomorrow. I know we're varying times a little bit. We do try to keep the 9:30 a.m. PST, 12:30 p.m. EST going, but tomorrow we're going to come to you around 8 a.m. PST, bright and early. So for those of you who are working in August, hopefully you can tune in on your way to work, and those who are on the East Coast for lunchtime. We want to make sure to get something out each and every day, and we appreciate you guys so much. We love this community, and we're just gonna crush it together. We're gonna win together, right? So it's exciting times. And Trip, thank you so much for being here again today, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Right on. No worries. Thank you.